Hey everybody. So probably just a short little video this week. I've been having a lot of headaches, and I think it has to do with the air conditioning in my room is right next to my head. And so I think it's been causing me to have some headaches, but I've also been having more dizzy spells, mainly now when I first lay down and when I get up. I think I'm getting massively congested or something. And it's just throwing me off completely, which is not good. But I've got some videos that I've saved up in the works of things that I've made last week, and I'm trying to record ones for this week. So I'm going to post one of them. I think I'm doing, is it the rhubarb cake? I don't know what I'm going to put after this video. It'll be a surprise. Tonight, though, for dinner, we're making what we call affectionately Cowpies. They are chicken squares. I don't actually know what they're... savory crescent squares. And it's like a mixture of chopped up chicken with some... I don't remember what else goes in it. And then you roll out a square of crescent roll, and you put it in the middle and kind of create this little puff. But it's my great aunt's recipe, and she just called them Cowpies. This is what we called them, Cowpies. So, but instead of making them into the puffs, we've been making them just because it's sometimes hard to get the seams to stick and it to bunch up at the top and hold when you're trying to bake it. So instead, I make them into a ring. So I'm going to try and record that tonight for a future episode, so you guys can see how to make those. They're really delicious, really good. And then we had Snicker salad the other night, and did not take a picture of how it was made or anything. It was so good, though. It's basically just Cool Whip, some chopped up Granny Smith apples, and some chopped up Snickers or Three Musketeers or Milky Way, and then one box of vanilla pudding mix. And you just mix all that stuff up, and you're good to go. It's a nice, quick, easy little dessert. It's been cool enough today. I wanted to bake some cookies, and I might still do that since it's in the 70s today, and it's cooler in my house. I just have not had the motivation to cook when it's hot. You don't want to fire up a kitchen and, heat up the whole house. So, but that, speaking of that, that's actually something read an article once about an old fire burning stove. There are people that still have them and prefer them because they don't have to rely on gas for that. If the electricity or the gas goes out, they can still provide heat and food for their family, and I thought that was interesting. But it is more work. You have to have wood to burn in there. Different types of wood burn at different temperatures, and so depending on what you're cooking, you might need certain types of wood to cook with. If you want to be more precise, you can't necessarily go by temperature gauges because it varies a little bit, so they have to do like the paper test, and there's some uneven cooking in there, but that always was interesting to me. Having what if we moved to a more wood burning stove like that one? They have way more compartments. You could have like a loaf of bread and a casserole and something else cooking. All these different little compartments that they have. But then in the wintertime, you don't really have to worry about heat. You fire up that stove and you just keep it going all day, cooking and heating the house. So I always thought that was interesting. I've seriously been tempted some days to switch over to that when I look at my gas and electric bill. It's like... So... But anyways, enjoy whatever video of whatever I've decided to put at the end of this to make. It could be rhubarb cake. It could be pasta salad. I don't know yet. We'll see. Enjoy your week, guys. Hey, everybody. So hopefully you can see my counter a little better. I'm using a wide angle, but now I'm getting this weird, like, glare from the light. But anyways, at least you can see more of my space and me. So, okay, we're making savory crescent chicken squares, aka cow pies. This is my Aunt Muriel's recipe, but I think she got it from Pillsbury. I found the same recipe on Pillsbury.com. And so, I've got my ingredients all pretty much together. Right now in here I have 4 tablespoons of butter that has been softened and 3 tablespoons of cream cheese, and I have to mix them together until they are softened, which is harder to do with cream cheese. So we're gonna try and just mash it and mold it until they're mixed. Normally I would probably use my KitchenAid for this, but I just don't feel like getting it down. So we're just gonna smush it against the sides and I think I lied. I'm gonna get my KitchenAid mixer. Okay, so I got my KitchenAid mixer down. So what have we learned here? Trust your gut and your instincts. If you know something's going to mix better with another tool, just go ahead and use it, even if you don't feel like pulling it down from the top shelf. Something like this that I wish I kind of had a hand mixer, because I could have used that other bowl and just did the hand mixer, but I don't have one. It broke a long time ago. We were like, well, we have a KitchenAid, we really don't need it, but we need it. So I've got the cream cheese and the butter in there. I'm going to go slow at first. Okay, so now that that is smooth, we're going to add in the chicken, the salt, the pepper, the milk, and the chives. So we are going to add in the half a teaspoon of salt and a half a teaspoon of black pepper. This is really a very easy recipe. There's very little involved. We're going to add in the 2 tablespoons of chives that I have gone ahead and chopped up. And yes, I use my little Pampered Chef mini chopper thing. The 4 tablespoons of milk. Now, I'm out of milk because we have the milk monster that lives in my house. Literally, we can buy 3 gallons of milk, and within about a week, we are down to 1 gallon because Riley drinks so much milk. It's insane. So, but I did happen to have buttermilk. I'm going to take a leap and say that I can substitute this just fine because I'm already adding some butter to this. So having more buttery milk should be okay. And it wasn't like it's a cup or whatever. It was just, 4 tablespoons. And then 4 cups of chicken breasts that have been cooked and cubed. Or 2 5-ounce cans of boned chicken. So I've already cooked it and I've already cut it or had it chopped up. I'm going to lift this a little more so I have more room to... I want to pour it from that side, but... Okay. Chicken, salt, pepper, milk, chives, and now mix well. Again, on slow. There we go. Mixed. And then we get to roll out the stuff. So I'm going to stop this for now because I have to put this mixer away so I have room to roll out the crescent ring instead of the crescent squares. Okay, so we have swapped out our KitchenAid mixer for my pizza stone. We've got 2 crescent roll things. So we're going to pop these open, and you want to make sure you keep these in the refrigerator until you're ready to use them. Otherwise, they get harder to work with. Normally with a crescent square, if you were to do the squares, you would take the 2 like that and pinch that diagonal seam together and make more of a square out of it, and then put your stuff in there. We're not doing that. We're doing a ring. So we're just going to overlap them, the triangles, fat points in. Keep the fat in the inside. Basically, you're making a sunburst, essentially. Shoot, that one started to tear. So, I have to be careful. To be over a little bit. At the end, you may have 1 or 2 that are necessarily not needed, but I just fill them in wherever it seems like a spot that might need it. Oh good, it didn't tear the way I thought it did. And I had wiped down the counter beforehand so that my overlapping dough wouldn't pick up anything. Okay, so I essentially have 1 left over, and I think this side looks like it could use one. And now I grab my pastry roller, and we want to just press these seams down. And just widen that base a little bit. So we have room for the topping. Okay. Now we take our topping, and you take a big size scoop, and you just start scooping in the middle. Be reserved a little bit at the beginning here, because you've got to make sure you get all the way around. I'm going to put this on this side. Because you can always go back in and fill with what you have left over. But you definitely want to make sure you get it all the way around first. So now I'm going to grab my spatula that I was using earlier, scrape down my sides so that I can get all of it. So I have about 1 or 2 more scoops left there. I think this side was a little light. Okay. Make sure your oven is preheated to 350. Now you're just going to take these and just fold them over. Into the center. See, they're starting to warm up already, and they're getting a little stickier than I would like. Okay, once you have them over, you just kind of tuck them in and push down so that they adhere to the bottom pastry, which my wife is much better at doing than I am. But I get the job done. It doesn't necessarily need to look pretty, although if you can get it to look pretty, hey, you're on a roll. Okay, so there's that. I have to get the butter, and I have to rinse off my hands here. Okay, so now I've got 2 more tablespoons of butter that has been melted. I have a brush. This is technically a barbecue brush. I should get a pastry brush one of these days, but it works, and it's got silicone, so it's easier to clean, I think. And then the original recipe says 1.5 cups of croutons seasoned, but I just go and just get toasted plain breadcrumbs. And you can get ones that are Italian or seasoned however you want. The traditional way, if you were to make the squares, is that you would then place on an ungreased cook sheet, brush the tops of the squares with a tablespoon of the melted butter, and sprinkle with crushed croutons. But I'm just going to go ahead and just brush the tops of these with the butter, the top of this ring. This helps the breadcrumbs stay on, and it just adds a nice little buttery flavor. I don't know why, but I have dream girls stuck in my head. Okay, and then I'm just going to take a spoon of the breadcrumbs and just sprinkle on top. And then we bake it for 25 to 30 minutes or until golden brown. And so I will try and show you what it looks like after.